This has to be the craziest start to an NBA season ever, right? Just yesterday, Aaron Gordon drops 50, goes 10 for 11 from 3, and the Nuggets still lose. The Thunder beat the Pacers, but they go into double overtime again. They played 2 games and both went into double overtime, and off the floor, we're going to get to that. There's a bunch of stuff happening. Nuggets Warriors. This game was out of control. Aaron Gordon with a 50 piece on 10 for 11 from 3. And if you go back and watch the game, you watch the highlights, the Warriors just decide not to guard him for maybe half of these threes. He's wide open in the corner. He's dribbling up on the wing and no one is guarding him. At some point, when the guy is just literally not missing, you might want to guard Aaron Gordon. And somehow the Nuggets end up losing this game because not really anybody else other than him and Jamal Murray played particularly well offensively. Jokic was okay for most of the game, and the Warriors got an incredible vintage close from Steph Curry. And honestly, apart from the Aaron Gordon 50 piece, that was my biggest takeaway was I'm going to miss this kind of stuff from Steph so much. At whatever point he retires, he's done with the NBA, there's going to be such a big piece of the league missing when we don't get these crazy Steph heaters at the end of games, the chemistry between him and Draymond. I'm going to miss that kind of stuff so much. And one of the things I think is going to get lost from this game a little bit because of the Aaron Gordon 50 piece and Steph playing really well is I've liked what I've seen from Jonathan Kuminga in the Warriors' first 2 games this season. There was always going to be this kind of cloud over him because of the way the negotiations went in the offseason. Ultimately, he comes back, but it's kind of assumed that he's back on the team only because they want to be able to trade him at some point in the middle of the year. But the way that he's played, and yes, just the first 2 games, I think Jonathan Kuminga actually looks like a really good fit on this Warriors team, especially on the contract that he signed. He gives them size. He's been guarding really well. Let's see if that continues for the entire season. And he hasn't really been in the way on offense. He's getting his threes up. He's doing the Warriors ball movement stuff on all these dribble handoffs. Jonathan Kuminga looks like he belongs. He looks like someone that has developed in this Warriors system. And I wouldn't be surprised if he continues to play like this if he isn't traded at the deadline the way that everybody just kind of assumed that he would be. And it's interesting because he's playing in ways that don't necessarily help him get traded, but really help the Warriors. He's doing small things. He's guarding. He's doing all these in-between things. He's not acting like someone that thinks he should be a 30-point per game scorer. That doesn't help him get traded. That doesn't increase his trade value, but it increases his value to the Warriors. And that's definitely something I'm going to keep in mind the rest of the way for them. For Denver, one of the things I definitely noticed was everybody loved the Cam Johnson trade, right? I love the Cam Johnson trade for them. But one thing that was definitely noticeable in what was admittedly a rough debut for Cam Johnson was the difference in the size of the Nuggets out there with Cam Johnson as opposed to Michael Porter Jr. Everybody likes the trade. Long-term, the trade's going to be good. It is literally just one game. But things that you are noticing is, yeah, Michael Porter Jr. is like 6'10", 6'11", and Cam Johnson is not that. And one of the things that made the Nuggets so effective on their run to the title was having that front court size of Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. It was one of the biggest front courts in the entire league, and Cam Johnson doesn't bring that same level of size, physicality, rebounding. Still a really consistent shooter, someone that fits better than Michael Porter Jr. with a lot of the offensive cutting ball movement stuff that the Nuggets like to do. He'll get more accustomed to that. Everybody plays well alongside Jokic, but something I'm monitoring with Denver is how much that's really going to impact how they feel when they're on the floor in terms of their overall size. Obviously, the takeaway is both these teams are very good. We know that the Warriors are going to be good whenever Jimmy, Draymond, and Steph play. It just depends on how often all 3 of those guys are going to play. I mean, just based off the numbers at the end of last year after they traded for Jimmy, those 3 guys plus some competent depth is like a 50-win team, and it's just going to come down to health in the regular as well as postseason if they get there. Great start to the year for the Warriors, and the Nuggets, that's a tough one. I mean, you get a 50-piece from Aaron Gordon and you... Thunder Pacers now. The Thunder are just not allowed to play regulation games. They have to play every game in double overtime, apparently. This game was out of control. SGA had 55. He shot 26 free throws, and in 2 games, he shot 40 free throws total. It's also hilarious that coming into the year last year, he had 0 50-point games, and now he has 5. And the thing that people were forgetting here as well is that Oklahoma City is doing all of this without Jalen Williams, and then in last night's game, they had no Cason Wallace, and they had no Alex Caruso. Obviously, the Pacers are also missing Tyrese Halliburton, but that is a ton of depth to not be out there for OKC. So, like, Barnheiser is playing. AJ Mitchell is playing out of his mind. AJ Mitchell is unbelievable. The fact that he's a second-round guy and legitimately looks like someone that could start for 10 teams around the league, 15 teams around the league. He's getting to the rim. He's scoring in all these in-between areas. He looks like he has gone to the SGA school of driving to the rim, creating contact, all these awkward in-between finishes, trying to get around guys with his length. He was unbelievable, and the Thunder needed him because they were missing so many guys. AJ Mitchell, I don't know how the Thunder continue to do this, how they continue to find guys. They have a ton of first-round picks still. They have all these picks, but they just keep finding guys in the second round. They keep finding guys on the trade market, and AJ Mitchell is just another example. For the Pacers, it's just so admirable how tough they still are to deal with, even without their best player in Tyrese Haliburton. Like, he's not playing. Nembhard gets hurt. 3 guys foul out, and it doesn't matter. They still compete. They still take OKC to double overtime, and they're still going to be a problem on a night-to-night basis in the Eastern Conference. They're obviously not going to be contenders without Tyrese Haliburton, but in the regular season, it's not going to be fun to go and play Indiana, and clearly they have something figured out here against OKC, against a defense that a lot of teams struggle with. They've found a way to get some occasional clean looks, especially from 3, even though they didn't shoot well from 3 last night. And they've been able to guard the Thunder as well as any team in the league over the last year and a half or so. And in this game in particular, it was all about Pascal Siakam and Benedict Mathurin. Those 2 guys were doing everything. Mathurin was getting to the rim and to the line whatever he wanted to. He shot 17 free throws. Siakam was literally doing everything. He was rebounding. He had a couple of assists. He was getting to the rim. He was hitting step back jumpers. He looked exhausted by the end of the game. And by the end of the game, by the time we got to double overtime, the Pacers were missing Nembhard because he went out with an injury. Ben Shepherd fouled out. Mathurin fouled out, and Aaron Nesmith fouled out. By the end of the game, Johnny Furphy, who had literally played 0 minutes, played the last couple of minutes of the game because they were out of guys. They were playing this random rookie point guard for a large portion of the game because they didn't have TJ McConnell out there. This was a really, really gutsy performance by Indiana. It sucks that it didn't go their way, but it just shows everything that they're about under Rick Carlisle. Okay, let's have the OKC officiating conversation. People get very annoyed watching this Thunder team for 2 reasons, officiating-wise. 1, defensively, they're incredible, and it seems like they get a pretty friendly whistle because they are the handsiest team in the entire league. Also related, they're the best defensive team in the league because they put so much pressure on the ball. They're constantly poking at it, constantly making you uncomfortable, and they don't foul a lot. And then, of course, the other frustrating thing is SGA specifically gets to the line a ton. And there definitely have been times when I'm watching Thunder games and I'm thinking, wow, they get an incredible whistle. It's a big conversation. However, the defensive stuff, yes, they can get a little bit handsy, but they establish that from the start of the game. They play the exact same way every single game. So unless there's like this league-wide conspiracy to not call fouls on them, all the officials are seeing the game the same way. And also, they have like 4 of the 5 to 7 best perimeter defenders in the entire league on their team. So they're going to be really good on defense. These guys are the best in the world at what they do, even though, yes, there can be possessions where they are too handsy and it does not get called. And for whatever reason, OKC does get a little bit of a friendly whistle on defense. The SGA stuff, he's just really good at it. He's not as frustrating as watching someone like James Harden, where he's literally just falling over. He's doing a lot of, reverse spins, pump fakes. Guys are jumping into him. Guys love to go after his arms and his hands. He has super long arms. So as he's driving to the rim and he reaches the ball out, it's easy for guys to smack down on his arm rather than the ball. It can be frustrating at times, but he's just really, really good. And the overall free throw numbers from these first 2 games are going to be inflated because both of the games went into double overtime. I generally don't have that much of an issue with the officiating as it relates to Oklahoma City, but I can understand how people would be frustrated. Okay, let's talk about the off-the-floor stuff now. Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier were arrested by the FBI as it relates to illegal gambling accusations and charges. Chauncey Billups coached a game for the Trailblazers and like 8 hours later was getting arrested by the FBI for connections to illegal poker games, scamming people in poker games, a bunch of other stuff that's connected to organized crime. And a head coach of an NBA team being arrested after the first game of the year is out of control. Now Tiago Splitter is going to be taking over for Portland. And then you've got Terry Rozier, who was investigated by the NBA and cleared by the NBA, clearly not cleared by the FBI. However, he's also been arrested because he allegedly tampered with NBA games. Essentially, he told people to take his unders and then took himself out of a game due to injury and then didn't play the rest of the year after that game due to quote-unquote injury. There's a lot of stuff happening here, and there's 2 massive questions. 1, did this happen? Are these guys guilty? Did they do it? And 2, how does this impact the integrity of the league? Obviously, if they did it, if they're found guilty, they're banned from the league. They're never coming back. It's regardless of whatever the other consequences are in their personal life. As it relates to the NBA, they're not coming back, and it's going to be a lifetime ban, which will be another one on top of the Jontay Porter one, which you've already seen, which is connected to all of this, just like the Rozier and Billups stuff are connected in this crazy, crazy scandal that's happening. And then the other part of this is the integrity of the league, which definitely is something that has been called into question with this stuff, as well as the Jontay Porter stuff in the past. Terry Rozier directly manipulated the outcome of an NBA game in order to make money off of it. That is at least the accusation, and we know that's what happened with Jontay Porter, and that's why he has a lifetime ban from the NBA. And if that is going to be happening, it's going to be a massive issue until the NBA proves that they have fixed it. And the actual, hey, how are we going to fix this of it all is very difficult to do because the rules are very clear. The NBA lets everyone know, since they've made gambling a bigger part of their portfolio, hey, you cannot manipulate the games. You cannot actively say, I'm going to leave the game and tell all your buddies to take the under. The players know, the coaches know what the rules are, and they are making the choice to break the rules anyway. So beyond a little bit more awareness of the rules, beyond making sure everyone is clear exactly what the consequences are, this is going to be a difficult thing to regulate from the NBA's perspective because they've already put in a bunch of stuff to make it clear what the rules are or aren't, and their connection to wagering gambling is already well established and it's not going anywhere. So this is going to be a massive challenge for Adam Silver and the NBA to find a way to get the fans to believe once again that the integrity of the game is not being affected, and they've got to make sure that this isn't happening anywhere else either. And for a player and a head coach of an NBA team to get arrested after the first 2 nights of the NBA season, certainly not how Adam Silver wanted the year to start, and this is going to be very, very interesting to continue to follow and see how it plays out.